Hello! The system for this month is control. I want to start this one with a visualization that you're going to use as a cue for this system. The cue is to ask yourself, am I in the river? The idea is simple. You don't want to flow through the river of life, incapable of changing direction or controlling where you go, just going with the flow. No. To be happier, you have to step outside the river on the shore and walk. When I was in university, I did my minor in psychology. And one study kept showing up over and over in all the different psychology classes I was taking. And it revolved around this idea of locus of control. You see, within psychology, locus of control is considered to be an important aspect of human personality. The concept was first developed by Julian Rotter in the 50s. And locus of control refers to an individual's perception about the underlying main causes of events in their life. What does that mean? You see, there's a spectrum of people. External locus of control individuals believe that their behavior is guided by fate, luck, or other uncontrollable external circumstances. Internal locus of control individuals believe that their behavior is guided by their personal decisions and efforts. Let's try an experiment. Imagine you just took an exam and you failed. Or remember the last time that you got a bad mark at school. Did you blame it on yourself or on other factors like lack of sleep because your friends made you stay up with them? Or you were too busy because you were studying for another course? Or the exam room was too cold and you couldn't focus on the exam? People with internal locus of control would blame it on themselves. Say that they could have done better or there's nobody to blame but themselves. Versus external locus of control people blame it on something outside of their control. Now, if you believe that you hold the keys to your fate, you're more likely to take action to change your situation when needed, right? If on the other hand, if you believe that your outcome is out of your hands, you may be less likely to work towards change. And this is the idea of locus of control and why it's such a key predictor of happiness. It makes sense, right? When we believe we can change our circumstances, that we are in control of our lives, we are more empowered. Now, the good news? By taking this course and watching this video, you clearly have more internal locus of control because you believe that you are in control of your life and thus your happiness. You know you can make a change. But this is where the mental shift becomes even more powerful. It doesn't even have to be control over your life, over your happiness. Locus of control means control over any small thing you can think of in life. Now, obviously, we can't control everything in our life. Sometimes we have a nagging boss that we just have to work with. Sometimes bad things happen to us out of our control. But the idea is that you need to believe you can always change something in your life because you actually have control over most things in your life. This all sounds nice, but let's give you some example of what you might be able to do to show more control over your life. Now, these 4 things are actually things that I've done personally, but they're just examples to show you this idea of control. You can customize and do things accordingly to your own situation. But you'll see that these small things actually increase your control, no matter how small. So let me give you an example. The first one that I did is, I don't wake up with an alarm. Instead of having an alarm telling me, hey, wake up, I let myself wake up when I'm ready to wake up. And then this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but when I was younger, I would walk from my bed to the mirror, to my bathroom, look in the mirror, flex, and say, I'm going to make today great. Now, as silly as that may sound, there's scientific evidence that body language alone can help with mood. And what gives you more control than waking up each day, flexing in front of the mirror and saying, today is my day? 2, Another thing that I've stopped doing is I've actually muted my phone, no vibrating, no notifications, no alarm on my phone, because this is your time. You don't want somebody else to dictate your day or interrupt your day. And that's what phones are. When somebody calls you, they are stopping you from doing whatever you're doing in your life and asking for your time. Instead, by having everything silenced on my phone, when I'm ready, when I'm in control, I pick up my phone and see who I need to call back or check my voicemails or message somebody. This is my life and I control my time. Third example is to not pretend to know something because you're afraid to ask stupid questions. An example is maybe you're at work in a meeting and you're listening to a presentation, but you don't understand something. Instead of feeling like, oh, I don't want to sound dumb, raise your hand and ask questions because you're stepping out of that river and not letting the river dictate the direction of your life. This is your movie. So be comfortable stopping in a meeting, raise your hand and saying, hey, can you clarify this? Because you're the main actor. And this idea of asking questions when you don't understand something is actually a form of control because you're not avoiding uncomfortable conversations. Now, the fourth one, and this one may be a big ask for some of you, but demonstrates another level of control. That is to delete all your work email right now. What will happen? Will you get fired? I'm willing to bet for most of you, probably not. If something's really, really important, then they'll probably email you or call you or get in touch with you. But instead of having thousands of unread emails stressing you out, just delete everything. Once again, having control over your life. I hope you get the idea. These are just examples, but now the fun part. It's time for the action item. And the action item is how can you implement this system of control in your life? I've given you an example, but I'm going to give you an actual task for the month to do. So I want you to grab a piece of paper or your notebook. And in the notebook, I want you in the center, draw a straight line, 2 columns. And on one column, you're going to write, it's a choice. On the other column, you're going to write, it's a chore. Now, this is an idea from Charles Duhigg, who wrote the book Smarter, Faster, Better. Really great book, highly recommend it. Now, whenever you have daily requests from others or things that you have to do, you have to write them down throughout the month and put them either in it's a choice column or it's a chore column. So for example, you are going to the gym to exercise. Is it a choice or is it a chore? If it's a choice, like, oh, I'm motivated to work out because I want to get fitter. Nobody's forcing me to go to the gym, but I'm exercising. You put it down under it's a choice. Or let's say you're at work and a boss walks in and tells you, hey, I need you to get this done by the end of the day. Is it a choice or a chore? Initially, it might be a chore. You don't want to do it, but somebody is telling you what to do. Now, as you're writing these down, your task is to try and move it's a chore items to it's a choice column. By the end of the month, all the chores should be moved to a choice. And how do you do that? Anytime you write something down in the it's a chore column, I want you to write down at the top of the notebook, why? Why is it a chore? And give 3 reasons why this task you're about to do is actually important to you. You see, when something's a chore, you can reframe daily requests from others as your own personal goals. For example, that boss that just asked you to get something done by the end of the day, why is this a choice? Well, 1, I could say that I'm going to ask for a raise at the end of the month, and this is going to demonstrate how good of an employee I am to get that raise. 2, maybe this is a task that you've never done before. You don't want to do it, but by doing this task, next time you can hand it off to somebody else, and so on and so forth. You can reframe these daily requests from others as personal goals. And throughout the month, as you notice something being put on it's a chore, see if you can reframe it as to why you're doing this and why you are the one in control, reframing this to saying that this is my choice. And by the end of the month, I want all these chores to move over to the choice column. There's your action item and system for the month. Now remember, life isn't always perfect. Don't focus on things you can't control, but do focus on the things you can. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. And the one thing you can always control is your mind, how you reason and how you react to events. And you can influence your destiny through the choices that you make. So, are you in the river or are you walking on the shore?